Yo, what's poppin', everybody? I want to welcome y'all back to the No Level Cap podcast. I'm going to introduce y'all to the crew. We got the collector of collectors and Twitch streamer extraordinaire, Will Coleman. Will, you just finished up Bloodstained. How'd you like it?
I love it. Metroidvanias are some of the best shit I've ever played, especially being made by the man himself, Koji Igarashi. That's amazing. Go play it. If you like Castlevanias, go play that. And sooner or later, I'm probably going to be playing this. If you can see it. Probably going to be playing Rhapsody.
Okay. Rhapsody. All right, well, that's a classic PS2 RPG. That's what's up.
Oh, certainly.
We got the Black Daredevil and the best actor in Austin, Texas, Terrence Flowers. What's going on, Terrence?
Man, this week has been wild. I've been having to shop around for a new car, and man, with this chip shortage, car shopping is a pain in the ass right now. But you know, that's neither here nor there. Tonight's it's gonna be a spicy one. We gonna have them big mad tonight. So yeah, let's go.
Hey, I ain't aiming to have nobody big mad. Like I'm never trying to piss nobody off. If you get pissed off, oh the fuck well. But I'm never trying to piss you off. You know what I'm saying?
If you caught a stray, that sounds like a you problem.
Yeah, if you catch a stray like that, I mean that like you need to fix something in yourself because I'm not gonna say nothing that I shouldn't be saying. All right, lastly, we got the living cartoon and the man with the golden voice, Rakeem Beck. What's popping, Rakeem?
Hey man, another day, another dollar. One day I'll get to my backlog. Not today. But we're going to this podcast, and I'm excited. Let's get it.
And I am Sage Ashford, the man who won't shut up. Y'all know on the No Level Cap podcast, we talk about all the anime, all the gaming, all the nerd culture. And I actually think this week it's going to be some of the bullshit. Actually,
I was ready for none of the bullshit.
No, we discussing a little toxic bullshit, I think. You know, we back with episode 26 in the can. Y'all know No Level Cap goes live every Monday. If you prefer the video version, we're on YouTube. If you're a fan of the audio version, we're live on Spotify as well. And we put up bite-sized clips of our podcast on TikTok and Twitter. Okay, so this week, we had this topic in like the drafts, so to speak, for a while now. Like we talked about, we had like a long list of topics, and there was something going around on TikTok, multiple things going around on TikTok that just I was like, fuck it. Then, you know, there's no better time than now. We might as well talk about it. And one of the ones I saw, and it's not the one that I showed y'all. One of the ones I saw was just this, like, what's an unpopular anime opinion? And the dude was like, oh, I actually think Gatekeeping is good. And I was like, what? And he was like, oh, yeah, you know, when I was young, when I was a kid, they bullied me for watching anime, for watching Dragon Ball Z and Naruto. And I got mad for multiple reasons. One, because of the gatekeeping, and another for a reason I'll bring up a little later. But I like the nerve to sit there and think that you can like tell people that it's too late to get into anime. And I'm like, what? It's never too late, right? Like, am I wrong? Like, I feel like if you get into anime at 70 years old, good for you. You know, if you like watching some like weird ass anime shit at 75, I'm proud of you. Like, enjoy your life. Like, you only got so many years, and that's whether you 75 or 35. You only got what's going on, Terrence?
I was gonna say, perfect example is I forgot the YouTuber's name, but there's an older woman who she got into JRPGs through playing her PSP.
The JRPG grandma.
Yeah, she's a perfect example of that. It's like you're never too old to get into this kind of stuff.
You not. So I don't know, like, whether you 75, 25, 45, like whatever age it is, like as long as you find something and you enjoy it, that's cool. And this idea of telling people that they can't love something because they weren't around back in the beginning, they wasn't in the trenches, it's baffling to me. And so, like, I guess the first thing I want to ask, since it's obvious we're talking about gatekeeping, is have any of y'all ever dealt with gatekeeping as an anime fan? Rakeem, have you ever had any experience like that where somebody tried to like check you for like your anime knowledge?
Not really. I have not personally had that happen to me, but I have witnessed it online a number of times. And I kind of can come from it from like a couple different angles. First of all, we see the first normal angle. Of course, we had Gamergate a couple years ago with like issues with like, you know, with people trying to gatekeep in that area. But it's like this weird sentiment among guys. And I get it because I grew up a geek. I grew up an anime fan. There's a certain demographic of people who did not accept you because you were into stuff that they weren't into. You weren't into the cool stuff. You weren't into the sports as much, or you weren't into the clubs, or like being popular, or getting, you know, having early sexual activity. And because of that, you were ostracized from that group. But we're grown now. and none of that stuff matters anymore. The things that mattered in those small subcultures we had as kids, as teenagers, as young people growing up and trying to figure out ourselves, that was a microcosm of what the world would be when we became adults. And as we are adults, we have the ability to go into different fan bases. We have the ability to meet people who are like us now. A great example, when I was in high school, I had a small group of people who liked to watch anime that I was friends with. When I got to college, there was an entire club devoted to just watching anime. And many of us, if not all of us, were involved with that club.
Yes.
That's how I met a lot of you guys. That's how I got to interact with a lot of you guys. And I made long-lasting friendships from that group. The connection people have to anime is a special one because at some point in your life, you watched a show and it captured your attention so much, you wanted to watch more and more of it. And why would you not want other people to experience what you experienced? I want people to experience the first time I saw Ronin Warriors or Dragon Ball Z or Sailor Moon and was just like mystified, like as a kid, the basic stuff. And then I kind of got on to more animes, or more complex, and I got to like, wow, this has broader implications, broader storytelling implications, kind of similar to how gaming was. When we was kids, we played simpler games, and as we got older, the games grew with us in complexity and tone and things like that.
Very true.
So as far as it goes, going back to the original question with the gatekeeping, I see online sometimes guys, or it doesn't necessarily have to just be guys, people who are like really strong or like certain anime and have like were geeks at a certain time, they feel like they have to hold on and hold the guard behind Heimdall in real life, protecting Asgard from the people who want to watch anime now, who weren't cool with it back in the day. And I hate to tell you this, man, you can try to gatekeep, but after you have that argument with that person and ask all them questions, they're going to go watch their anime the next day or in the morning. They're going to have the Crunchyroll account. They're going to go on Netflix. It's everywhere now. It's literally everywhere now. You can't escape it. I had a conversation with my friends. I might have mentioned some podcasts before about how I met a very elderly lady at my job who was like mystified trying to ask, my grandson loves My Hero Academia, and I have no idea what that is. He said, I want My Hero Academia. Like, I don't know what to do. That's how mainstream has gotten, like where people like the casual person has someone in their family who's an anime watcher. All I want to say to those guys is, it's okay. We all had pains. We all had issues. We all had people who shunned us. We had people who rejected us, girls who didn't like us. We went through that. But as we grow up, we have to grow out of those phases too. We have to allow ourselves to heal. Allow yourself to heal. Embrace people. Love people. Let anime be not something to hold people back, but a thing that can bring people in. And be generous to people.
This man turned into a whole anime protagonist.
Yo, I'm about to say, right? Yo, preach, y'all.
A whole self-love speech and everything. I'm proud of him. That shit was fire. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah. I mean, it's serious. It's seriously from the heart because I understand. Like that resentment you can have for people from like stuff that dealt with you when you were 9, 10, 13, 14, 15 years old. I remember when girls made fun of me for being a geek. You in a matchstick clique. You ain't never gonna get no vagina. In 7th grade. I remember that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I remember that.
I did not expect you to say that.
Yes, sir.
That is.
Yes, sir.
Definitely.
Just liking like stuff they didn't like. Watching anime, playing video games. And I have friends who can attest to this. I have a friend who lives in Nashville now. We talked about that the other day. From like our childhood, how people talked about us like that. People talked about you like a dog as a kid. But when I was a child, I thought I was a child. I acted like a child. And as I grew older, I grew out of childish things. And one of those childish things was holding on to resentment of people who don't care about me. You can also not care about them. Move on. Heal. That's all I had to say.
That was fire. I'm not going to lie.
Damn, Reverend Keem, man. Keem
I
came
don't
through
know.
with the sermon.
I don't know that I can top what Keem said, and I'm not going to try because Rakeem came from a place of understanding. I'm not. But we're going to get into me in just a second. Terrence, have you ever dealt with gatekeeping or have you like witnessed it,
So it's funny, Rakeem and I were talking about this before the podcast began, and it in real life, like just in person, I personally haven't, like just me and myself, I haven't experienced gatekeeping, and I haven't seen anyone being gate kept. I guess that'd be the right way to put it.
I
but
guess, right?
Yeah. But online, it's a vastly different story. And that's where a lot of the gatekeeping comes from now, because it's just so easy to do. It's very easy to do it when you're able to hide behind a screen, whereas in real life, you know, you run up on the wrong person, you know, you might get decked.
You might,
or you might get decked, or you might get slapped. So you kind of you know, need to make the right choices. I will say I have encountered people that felt like that were a bit, you know, a bit more want to act like they were a bit more astute with their anime knowledge. Like, yes, I know only about the finest anime, and you as a commoner who only know about, you know, your low level anime, you're obviously not that much of a fan. I have run into people like that.
Ain't that the truth?
But it just in terms of just gatekeeping itself, it's a hard to follow on what Rakeem said. I mean, he said it perfectly, but it's just crazy to see that this is still a thing. Like, the idea, gatekeeping really even should be a thing to begin with. Like Rakeem said, I get it. Like, I grew up in a time where, well, we all grew up in a time where anime wasn't like universally accepted. It was still very much this niche thing that, you know, only technically, I guess, like the geeks or whatever were watching at the time. But now it's a totally different ball game. I mean, look at Gen Z. Gen Z, pretty much anime for them is mainstream. It's no big deal to talk about anime and be a fan of it. I remember being at a doing a youth group for church, and just the kids were just talking about Attack on Titan just casually, like it was no deal. Like, hey, did you see that episode of Attack on Titan? And, you know, me overhearing, I'm like, wow, look how far we've come from the, you know, back when we were growing up. Like, the most you could discuss with that kind of thing was what, DBZ. That was the most acceptable anime, and that wasn't really even seen as like a traditional anime in a sense. But yeah, just the idea of gatekeeping is like, why wouldn't you want more people to enjoy your fandom? It's like, why would you want to shut people out? And like I said, I get it, because there can be this idea now that, oh, where'd all these fans come from? Like, where were you all when, you know, I was getting teased for watching anime? It's like, come on. That happened. It happened in grade school. It happened in high school. It's time to get over that, man. It's just, it is what it is. Like, accept the fact that anime isn't this niche thing that it used to be before. And I get this idea of, for a lot of people, I think the problem is like they make being an anime or a video game fan their identity,
their own
like
personality.
Yeah, it's their whole personality. It's who they are. It's the core of their being. And when you take that away, it's kind of like, what do I have? And so at that point,
great point.
Yeah, at that point you need
holes is what they got.
At that point, you need to just develop more as a person, like Rakeem said. I mean, go outside, like get involved in some other hobbies, do some other activities. You know,
touch some grass.
You know, the meme of, you know, touch some grass. You know, live life a little bit more. Just find ways to improve yourself. There's nothing wrong with liking anime and video games. We're all very much huge fans of anime and video games, but it's not our core identity. We do things outside of that. And so I think that's where a lot of this gatekeeping comes from, is that a lot of these fans they're scared. They're scared of seeing all these people come into their fandom and enjoy this thing and talk about it. I mean, heck, look at conventions. Conventions are huge now. I was at DreamCon not too long ago, and DreamCon was so big that, shoot, we were all packed in like sardines. That's how big anime has gotten, like the fandom has gotten. Both men, women, just people of all genders were there. They were just enjoying anime. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. We can all mingle together and enjoy the thing that we love. So personally, I haven't experienced gatekeeping, because I'll be honest, if somebody were to come up on me and, you know, try and gatekeep me, then, you know, they might get hit with the mighty fist of justice. But I guess the other side of it, which I won't touch, maybe I should touch a little bit more on it. There can be like the racial side of gatekeeping when it comes to anime fandom.
That was where I was like,
okay.
You know, have anybody ever looked at you and just been like, you don't seem like you should be in the anime because you got, you got this and you ain't got all of this. You know what I'm saying?
I guess, that is something I should lightly touch on. I imagine you're going to hit the point even harder, Sage, but I'll just say that I definitely see that online too. There's, whenever there's like black fan art of certain anime characters, the discussions on that are just so out of pocket. or just the fact that people still to this day want to dismiss Meg Thee Stallion as an anime fan when she is clearly an anime fan, a bigger anime fan than most of these guys who claim to be anime fans. I mean, she's in the JoJo, she's in the Black Clover, she's a big anime fan. She wears stuff that's related to anime and posts it on her Instagram. She does not hide it at all.
So much. She like anime so much, she brought up a mid-ass anime and a mid-ass character in Austin, which is like, I just love him so much, and this and that. She explained why. I'm like, yeah, only an anime fan would sit there and explain to you why they mid-ass anime is actually good. Like, that's an anime.
Yeah, you talking about her interview on Hot Ones? Yeah, that was really that was great. The fact that she was just able to sit there and just talk about, you know, her love of Asta and Black Clover as a whole. Like, that was awesome. That just shows you how big anime has gotten. And yeah, just from a racial perspective, I mean, there's definitely some ugly situations with that. I personally haven't experienced it, but I have seen a lot of it. So I'm not going to be long with it, but just, yeah, I haven't experienced gatekeeping, but I have witnessed a lot of it online. Not as much in person, just because I think it's a lot easier to check some people in person. I'm not saying it doesn't happen in person. It can, but it's much easier to do it online when you're able to just hide behind a screen and more than likely an anime avatar, ironically. So yeah,
yeah, more than likely. There's always the anime profile picture.
Yeah, hey,
go. You know what they say.
Go listen to that Little V song. It's always an anime profile picture.
Oh no.
It's always.
Will, have you ever like had to deal with gatekeeping, seen it, and you know, just like, how do you feel about it, just in general?
Okay, so in general, first off, before I start, shout out to our boy King once again for the excellent thesis paper he just spit earlier. And no, I have not personally experienced any gatekeeping, but just like my other friends here, most certainly you will see it mostly online. And we know online, real life, two different sets of circumstances. Is where someone really won't press someone in real life, but they'll definitely press it online if they can go ahead and do it. Because, well, I can say it and you can't do nothing about it because you can't reach me.
Yep.
But for me, this whole gatekeeper thing is just ugly. And why make this such a personality trait? Because, like, yeah, I've been talked about before about it. I'll give you a small example, because I had a close friend of mine. Me and him are still close. He's been in nursing school and whatnot, but I watched a lot of slice of life anime and romance anime. Some of them have those ecchi like parts to them, and every once in a while when I watched them, he was kind of like the parent to me watching a certain anime like that. Like, if I'm watching it, normal stuff is happening, but the minute he walk in the room, there's a bare ass on the screen. So
the RDC World skit.
Oh, no. Exactly. It's exactly like that. And I'm just like, come on, man. Every time you walk in, you catch his scene. But he always thought it was something sexual. So I told him, hey, look, go on Netflix, and if you just pick one show, just one, and watch it, I think I can change your mind. He was like, I don't believe you, but a week later, he come back to me and said, hey, man, I sat down and I decided to just watch Black Blood Brothers on Netflix. He sat down and watched that. He came back to me and said, you know what, that's a pretty good show, man. Pretty solid. I liked it. And then he kind of kept watching shows on and off here and there. He got into it. I'm just like, you found something that stuck with you. You don't have to watch what I watched to enjoy anime. And that's kind of like another something I kind of want to touch on too here and there, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. But gatekeeping is horrible. I'd rather people get into it. I want people to get into it to enjoy it alongside me rather than away from me. You don't have to like the same shows I do and all that. And there is something I want to mention about TikTok. Like, I think it was at DreamCon or something where like some dude was going around asking people, who are the mustiest fans? What's the mustiest fan?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
And let's just say that I heard a lot of my... We'll get into that later then. We'll get into that later. All right.
Uh-oh.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Gatekeeping. Shit.
Look,
stay away from it.
Look, okay. What's going on, Terrence?
One thing I just want to point out real quick is that I don't know what you're going to say, Sage, but just so far, just the trend of that we haven't experienced gatekeeping in person. I will note that obviously none of us here are women, and I'm sure from the female side of things, like, this is a very different conversation. So I just want to point that out before anyone, says anything like, you all don't know anything about it. I just pointing it out that yes, on the other side of things, this could be a very, very, very different conversation.
Look,
but
us not having experienced it, because I mean, like, if we experienced it, it would probably, as you brought it up, it would probably show itself in the form of racism.
Yeah.
It wouldn't show itself in the form of sexism.
I just wanted to point that out just so
Yeah.
people, don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Now,
like,
I mean, like, online, I guess I probably have, had somebody try to, gatekeep or whatever. I forget. I probably get real angry in the moment because for reasons I'll bring up later. I probably get real angry in the moment, but it in one ear and out the other. Like, once I get over it, I'm like, okay, whatever. Online, obviously, I mean, in real life, obviously not. I wear glasses. I'm kind of heavy set, so like, I got the nerd build, so people just assume that I'm a nerd. Having said all of that, look, I know Rakeem was all positive and nice and all that. That's cool. It's time for y'all to grow the fuck up. I don't want to hear no more about what happened in high school. Like, oh, okay, look, I'm going to give you this. Lately, I've been seeing a lot of people online try to retcon how we was treated. They try to retcon. They say, "Oh, it wasn't because you was an anime fan. It's because you was Naruto running and all." Shut the fuck up. I don't hear that shit from y'all no more. God damn it. No, you was bullying niggas. And even if somebody was Naruto running, they a little awkward. They a little weird. So what? That don't give you carte blanche to bully somebody.
Hey, back in my day, it was the Sonic run. It wasn't the Naruto run.
Yeah, we're a little older, so like a Naruto run wasn't as common. So like, but still, like, if you was a little weird in high school, so what? Like, everybody was a little weird. Everybody was doing something that was off kilter. And like, when you look back on it, you like, oh man, that was kind of cringe. I wish I hadn't done that. Like, that's part of growing up. And I'm not gonna sit here and let people try to retcon all the bad treatment that you gave, especially the black people that did anything different. Black scene kids, black rock fans, black anime fans. Like, y'all treated us like some dirt. And I'm not gonna sit here and let y'all pretend like you didn't. Having said all of that, I don't care, bro. Like, you out of high school. I'm sorry, but like, by the time you get through high school, by the time you get through college, so like 22, that's it for you. I don't want to hear none of that shit no more. Don't tell me about you was going through. Who gives a shit? It's over with. It's 4 years. Like, it took 4 years of your life of high school, but guess what? Once you get out of college, that's 4 more years. And in them 4 years, nobody was bothering you. So I don't understand what all this crying and whining and bitching about is. You trying to keep people out of a hobby that you're supposed to be welcoming people into. Because let me tell you something. Do you know what happens when you successfully gatekeep a hobby? It fucking dies. And I won't have it. I will not tolerate it. Like, if you like anime, you welcome, unless you just one of them like weirdos that I got a question later that kind of plays into that. So we not gonna, but like, everybody else is welcome because I want my hobby to keep growing. And yeah, like, to some extent, when the hobby grows too big, it get a little Hollywood. Sometimes you get some shit you don't want. Sometimes you get the adaptation of an anime that you really love, and the shit look like ass. The live action version.
Our last podcast, by the way, for that conversation.
Exactly. Sometimes you get Netflix One Piece, and you don't want that. But like, so. And then, like, what's all this looking at, like, all this shit where y'all try to gatekeep women, like, oh, you don't like anime, you just doing that to, like, get a male's attention.
Ooh,
man, don't nobody want your dusty ass. You'll shut the fuck up. I'm tired of this shit. Ain't nothing. Y'all, first of all, y'all niggas don't take showers in the first place. So, like, why would she want you? Like, y'all don't take care of yourselves. You don't care about your appearance. You have no personality. You don't do none of that shit, but you think that it's some woman that's going to want you just because you like anime. Fuck no. You are not a harem protagonist. That shit not real. What? Like, go outside. That shit not real. So, like, I hate this shit. Every time I see it drive my blood pressure up. I'm like, man, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I'll be looking at, I'll be on TikTok listening to people talking about I gotta check your nerd cred. Who the fuck are you? Who are you? Some nobody. So like, why don't you just sit there and watch your anime and be happy instead of being mad that some girl that like you never gonna get a chance to talk to and she would never pay attention to you in the first place. Stop it. I apologize. I had to go off. Like whenever I think about it, I'm like, I experienced the same kind of isolation. And I really only had like 2 or 3 close friends. And I when I was young, I didn't even talk to a lot of girls just because like, I'm like, well, we ain't gonna have nothing in common, so it's just gonna be awkward. So why bother? And like I had people look at me and say, "Oh, well, you're not black because you like anime." Oh well, you know, they handed me my diploma. I walked off that stage and I forgot about the motherfuckers. That was what you were supposed to do, but y'all was too weak. Apparently, everybody need a father. Y'all grew up without dads. And I ain't talking about black anime fans. I'm talking about all of y'all. Y'all all soft. You grew up without dads, apparently. Like, you need some kind of male influence, which I ain't even had that. But apparently, I was enough of a man to be like, oh, well, you know, it's all good. I'll be all right. But y'all soft. And you just let this softness infect you. And you go around trying to, like, inflict pain on others just because pain was inflicted on you. No. You're supposed to guide other people. You're supposed to help people. Like, you're supposed to take... Just because somebody hurts you don't mean you hurt other people. I know hurt people. Damn that. Hurt people can also help people. And you can choose to help people. Or you can choose to hurt people. You can choose the right way. You choose the wrong way. Rakeem was like, hey, man, show a little more love to yourself. I'm here to tell you, you got to grow the fuck up. All right? Now.
Damn. Man,
now
we got Reverend Keem and we got Father Sage, man.
You know what I'm saying? Thanks, Pops.
Yo, damn. Yo, Pops. Oh man!
Like I don't know. I look online and I see all these dudes run around, following these like really toxic influence dudes. We not gonna say none of their names. No, fuck them. None. But like y'all know who I'm talking about, all of them. And then y'all run around here following these dudes. And you like, oh, this is how a real man behaves. No, as a man, you're supposed to define how you behave. And as a man, you're supposed to not be negative and toxic and bring that negative energy into the world. That's your job as a man. And for you to sit here and go around looking for advice from somebody and not being able to look within yourself and figure it out, I don't get it. So I don't understand like this idea of like being just dicks to everybody. I don't go over my head. So now I'm gonna move on to another question. How can we, or do you try to be like more welcoming to like anime and gaming for newcomers? Like, and how can, like, have you thought about like, how can I be more welcoming? Terrence, I know you saw the question. Do you have any like thoughts on it?
How to be more welcoming. So I guess my answer is I try to be welcoming. I'm more relaxed about it now than I used to be, because used to be whenever I was younger, I would look at it as like when somebody would ask me about anime, it's like, oh man, this is my chance. This is my chance to get them to anime, convert them, and he'll be my friend, and we could talk all about it. It's like it's that's not the way you really should go about it, at least in my opinion. No. I think that, well, at least for me, the way that I approach it now is, and it's easier now than ever. Like back when I was younger, getting, well, I'm not gonna talk about getting someone into anime because that's a different conversation. But what I'll say is that in terms of making sure that people are welcome, I try to just first off latch on to whatever they're into. If they're just starting out with anime, try and see, hey, what have you watched? Like what, even if you hadn't really watched a lot of anime, just like what genres are you into in general? And we just kind of go from there. Just life is too short now to be just angry about people, coming into this fandom that you feel like is all yours. So I don't waste my time with that. I'm really just trying to be just casual about it. And I don't try to, like I said, it can be very easy to be kind of like wide-eyed. It's like, oh yeah, oh man, an anime fan. I got to connect to them in every way. And I think that's how a lot of these people are, the ones that do like are more on like the gatekeeping side, is that they see like fellow anime fans and they feel like they, have to one up them, or they have to like be super extra about it. It's like, no, you could be just very casual about it, just like you could be about anything. You could you can be toxic with anything. Like, I mean, heck, we're seeing that with the MCU now, where people are just getting really kind of, the vitriol against the MCU now is just kind of out of pocket, and honestly, it could be a conversation in and of itself. But yeah, it's just, no, I try my best to just be welcoming to people, I guess is what I'm getting at. And especially when it comes to, younger fans, just try to encourage them. Is like, just let them know like, hey, it's really cool that, you're into anime, keep it up. Hey, what shows do you watch? Because I'll admit that now it can feel like, as someone who grew up as like, I guess like the midpoint for millennials, because I'm not like a younger millennial, but I'm not like an older millennial either, kind of like right in between.
What do they call them? Geriatric millennials.
Is that what they call us?
No, really?
Yeah, that's what they started calling them. I'm like, my
Lord.
God, bro, that's so disrespectful.
Man, they have something new for us every day.
I
But
swear,
yeah.
bro,
He never lied.
they be cooking us.
Yeah, for real. But as a millennial, like growing up into anime, because it was still very niche when a lot of us were growing up, so we kind of had to find our own cliques. And for me in high school, I had to find my group that liked anime, and same in college. Like all of us, we talked about earlier, finding the anime club. We found the anime club, and that's how a lot of us met each other, and we're still friends to this day. Yeah, but with Gen Z, is that a lot of them just watch anime like it's no problem. So for them, it's easier to get into anime. And sometimes I feel like, man, I was born too early. Had I been born in Gen Z, like being an anime fan and being into video games, that would have been no problem. But it is what it is, that Gen Z has its own problems to deal with. But yeah, it's not, now is the best time than ever to be a fan. And you don't have to try so hard to gatekeep somebody. It's very easy to welcome people in, and it's just like with any fandom. Just like, hey, if you want, like you said, Sage, if you want your fandom to grow, if you want what you love to grow, share it. Don't gatekeep it, because I'll put it this way: money talks, and if you shut people out from liking your fandom and there aren't enough people buying it, guess what? It's going to disappear. It's going to die. And then you're going to be the only one in your room holding on to your anime Blu-ray disc, wondering what happened. And guess what? You're the reason why that happened. So that's all I have to say, is that I tend to be very lax about welcoming newcomers in. I have no problem with, people approaching me, or even if I just notice that they're watching something and it's anime, or if they're just looking at merchandise or something like that. I have no problem striking up conversations with people about anime. Like, I'm much more able to do it now than I used to. Think probably just because I'm more accepting of myself as an anime fan than I used to be. I kind of used to hide it just because it felt like a little bit more shameful, but now that anime is more so mainstream, it's easier just to express your love for it. So that's where I am with it. Like, I have no problem being welcoming to newcomers, and we should all be welcoming to newcomers.
That actually, y'all, both you and Keem have brought up like meeting like anime fans, and I'm not gonna lie, like I could not tell y'all how happy I was when I met all of y'all. Like the whole, like, because I had friends that watched anime growing up, but it was like 2 or 3, right? Yeah. So like for years, it was just the same 2 or 3 people that watched anime, and that was it. I didn't talk to nobody else. I was friendly, but like as far as like knowing a whole bunch of people like that was out. Like I play video games and like anime, and people like football and wrestling, and like I got into those things later on in life. But at the time, all I cared about, I was like, yo, man, who is Yusuke about to punch in the mouth next? Like what's going on? Like, when am I gonna get Lunar 3? The answer was never. So like it was, like I got to college and I met y'all, and I was like over the moon. I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, I know some people that like anime. And I mean, it helped that y'all was black, but just it wouldn't have mattered. Like, I was cool with anybody, just somebody that liked anime. Like, I remember when I first met, I think actually you, Terrence, and Darren, and like a couple other guys, we was just out there at college at like 2 a.m, just talking about random anime shit.
Yeah. Just
like reminiscing on what it was like watching anime growing up. Mm-hmm. And that was like amazing. And that experience was fantastic, and everybody could have that if they chose not to gatekeep. So yeah. I still don't understand. Like, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say real quick, I just want to shout out to Devin. Devin, he's been my friend since high school, and he's the one who makes our overlays, and he did the podcast intro. Check him out, Mr. Game and Lift on Twitter and YouTube as well. But yeah, Devin. If you're watching this, like, hey, you and I go way back, and yeah, that just goes to show, like, you can have lifelong friendships just from something like anime and video games. Yeah, you don't have to gatekeep. There's no reason for it. You can make new friends. Like, I hate to turn this into like a shonen kind of like a message or something like that, but you know what? That's another thing. Like, the irony of anime fans, and it's the kind of like the irony with X-Men fans. It's like you watch the X-Men, but then you spit hateful and racist rhetoric, and it's like you completely miss the entire point of X-Men. And it's like, how can you be a fan of shonen like Naruto, Black Clover, and DBZ and be a gatekeeper when it's like you totally miss the message? Because all those shows are about friendship and embracing each other's differences. And yeah, so
because they wanted to be the villain. They didn't realize.
I see.
I was kind of a shonen guy. Like well, obviously, but I mean, like I was kind of a shonen protagonist as a kid because I'd always make friends and I ain't like them at first, and then like eventually, it's like a defeat means friendship. Like we have an argument or whatever, and I was like, you know what, they real cool, and then that was how I became friends with them. And then like, of course, I found out they like anime. We'd have like common interests, which is how you become friends with anybody when you like a little kid. And it really should still be when you grow up, but whatever. Like that, I was like, oh shit, like, oh, I don't really like this person. But then I like start arguing with them, and we start finding out stuff about each other. You like, oh, okay, this person actually really cool. And the thing people always forget is that your high school was not everybody else's high school.
Oh,
Wasn't nobody shoving me in the lockers, but somebody probably got shoved in the lockers, right? Like everybody had different experiences, and so like for all these people that be trying to gatekeep women who have been in the hobby as long or sometimes longer than they have. It's like, you don't think that girl wasn't lonely? You don't think that girl wasn't going through shit?
That's
you
a
don't
good
think
point.
she wasn't ostracized? You don't think she wasn't overlooked? You think that she just experienced just a happy life the whole time just because she was a girl? Or like, oh, well, she was pretty. Like, you don't think it ain't late bloomers out there that didn't become pretty after they got out of high school? And even then, sometimes they don't know how to deal with pretty privilege because they never experienced it growing up, experiencing puberty and shit. That shit came later, and they like, what the fuck is going on? Why do people treat me like this? You don't think that they don't know something about that? But you ain't bothered to ask, huh? Okay. Will,
man, you getting into something there?
You know what I'm saying, bro? You went there.
I had to say it because I mean, like, you brought up how women experience it, and I'm like, yeah, we are as like a whole bunch of niggas, just not. And when I say niggas, like, I just mean a general term for dudes.
Yeah. So YouTube, don't hit us for that.
Man, fuck them. Fuck
If they
YouTube.
hit us.
We ain't monetized. We get 100 views. We still like ain't nobody giving us no money. Fuck them.
We underground. We ain't underground. We in the Earth's core.
Hell yeah.
Just saying, man.
Not worry about it later when we got a sponsor or something.
Yeah.
Right now, fuck them.
No,
like,
but you're right. Yeah, you're 100% right. Is that there is there's when it comes to that kind of stuff, there is like the other side of the coin. Is that for every like lonely guy who felt ostracized because they liked certain geeky interests, there are definitely girls and women who experience that as well, and even more so because they were girls. Because that kind of stuff, it's like, you like this? Like, no way. It's like, you got to be a fake fan. You got to be doing this for attention, and thus creates the problem that just continues to perpetuate the cycle.
I mean, I can only imagine, like, because I've been called, oh, you like this? Oh, you can't even be black. So I can only imagine how it is if you're a woman, or God forbid, if you're a black woman. I can only imagine the nonsense you had to hear and put up with from idiots. Like I can only imagine the bullshit you had to tolerate, which you shouldn't have. So like it had to come up, and I appreciate you for bringing it up, Terrence, because otherwise it might have just been a whole conversation about how we experience it, which of course it may not be as bad or bad at all. Will, how do you try to be welcoming to like people that like want to get into anime? I mean, like, you kind of already said you were like, you actually got somebody into it, really.
Yeah, I got like a close friend of mine into it, and I tried to get another person into it, because the best way for me that I tried to like kind of help ease them into it was kind of like what Terrence said. Like, ask them, what is it? Like, what form of media is it that you like? Like, you may not have watched maybe 1 or 2 shows or something, or maybe 10 or 15 shows like I have, but there's something on television that you watched and you like how that played out. So let me ask you, what do you like? Do you like the drama? Do you like this? Do you like that? Like, what are these things on television with real people that you like? And I can try to at least find you something that's kind of close to it.
What
it
3D
may
thing
not
do
be
you like?
wrong people.
What 3D thing do you like, so I can show you what 2D thing you like?
Exactly. You got it, my guy. That's how I wanted to do it. What's this 3D thing you like, so I can show you how 2D it works? And I kind of did that with someone. They said they like a bunch of drama and all that type of stuff. I was like, Scum's wish. Let's go there.
Man, that's one hell of an anime to get someone into. Good Lord.
What's so bad is they kind of liked it. And I was like, look at you. It ain't hard. And it's just this here. You ain't got to watch everything that come up. But if you find something that's interesting, get it. What the corn kids say, not everybody has to like it for it to be the best.
And that kid is everywhere now, huh?
For
You
real.
really should see this video.
It has
apparently.
the juice. It has the juice and it has the grease. You gotta understand, bro. But yeah, it's not
Okay.
hard to get people into things. It's just you have to be kind of ease with them. Because I'll admit, in some of my earlier bits of me watching a lot of anime, I was kind of like that guy that's like, I'm gonna push a certain thing. Like if you say you want to watch something, I got at least 10 suggestions in my head already. I'm gonna throw them at you, and I hope you watch something after I tell you about it. It's
Yeah.
not, oh, you should try this show here if you like this. It's more like I got 10 shows. Take them, go home, do the homework, then come see me tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
That's kind of what I was getting at with mine is like as well. It's like in terms of like having this list of stuff to give to people. And it's like, no, I mean, kind of come down to their playing field. It's like, don't try and,
don't try
be
and
over the top
overload
with
them.
it. Yeah.
Don't try to overload them. That's what I did for a while. Then I was like, you know what? Let's stop that and let's try to think more. Let's be a people person first. Let's not be the anime person first. Because if I'm that person, I'm doing it wrong. Then they're gonna look at me funny and definitely think I'm a fucking weirdo.
That's a good sentence. Be a people person first, not an anime person first. I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
Man, drop knowledge. Yeah. Rakeem, how do you feel? Like, do you try to like be welcoming to people that's like trying to get into anime, video games, for like newcomers and shit?
It all starts with a conversation. So like a great example for me is like, sometimes it starts with a relative. My little brother, 10 years younger than me. Obviously, he grew up way younger than I was. He didn't know what was going on in the world. But I remember he got into Sonic X when I was really young, when he was really, really young. And as he grew up, he naturally watched stuff that I watched. I watched a lot of anime. And he would have conversations about it. He thinks these things were cool, and he would kind of latch onto it. And now to this day, he still watches anime. And we have conversations about anime all the time. Well, I mean, like, it starts with a conversation. Recently, in my last couple of jobs, I can almost sense it now. Like an anime fan, like I've have one conversation, and there's certain beats you'll hear, and then like they'll snap and say something like, "Oh, okay, so you watch Demon Slayer," and then boom, you have a whole full blown conversation. It's happening every job I've been to now. I always find them. There's always 1, 2 every time. I had a great conversation with my coworkers in my most recent job. He's no longer at the job no more. He found out I was an anime fan, and I found out my boss is an anime fan, which is crazy. He's way older than us. And we just have long conversations about anime in between when we have breaks and stuff like that. And just talk about how much we like things, and we recommend things to each other. And that create a kind of environment where people who will be around us will just hear about anime. And maybe they'll butt in conversation. Hey, what are you guys talking about? Oh, we're talking about this show right here. Checking out Netflix. I remember I recommended one of my other coworkers. He's really into strategy and military stuff and space stuff. I was like, hey, why don't you try Legend of Galactic Heroes? You might like that anime. I think it'd be up on, something. He's like, hey, I might try that out. Now, I don't know if he watched it, but he actually does listen to my recommendations. So you will be surprised how into people are into you if you just go ahead and have conversations with them. It starts with a conversation. When you create, an environment where it's welcoming for you guys to talk all the time about anything and everything, not all the time you can do this at work if you have a job because you want to get fired. But, maybe, in a group, at a gym, different things. When you open your conversation up, you can open up about what your hobbies are, and you kind of share those hobbies and ideas. That could be a television show, that could be an anime, be video games, be whatever. And I find out so much about people through just minor details of conversation, and we can just recommend things to each other back and forth that way. And that's how I kind of approach it. I start with building a relationship through conversation. And then once I find out what they like or things they're interested in, then I put out things I would recommend. I had one coworker who he's in the strategy games. I would tell him, oh man, maybe you should try out, Age of Empires. Like you be kind of up to your game. You were a history buff. You were in the strategy games. That's not like it's your cup of tea. Or like, hey man, I was in the JRPGs as a kid. Hey, they still making Dragon Quest. I want to try that out. Or this the Final Fantasy still going strong. They might have a new one coming out next year. I want to try that out. So it's easier than you think it is. You just have to kind of get over the fear of like being judged. Because we, as anime fans or gaming fans, there was a time, Terrence just brought this up. There was a time it kind of was uncomfortable to have that conversation. And if you grew up like me, where everybody in my family is way older than me. All my aunties, uncles, my parents, even my cousins, way older than me. I was born late. So like,
good point.
There's not a lot of relatability there. But I was lucky enough to have a few good cousins, like a few good men who were just like, we into gaming. We like Final Fantasy. We like anime stuff. We like this stuff and that stuff. We can have conversations about it. And that was really important to me. Yes, Terrence.
I was just gonna say real quick, like you mentioning that, Yeah, for me growing up, I was really the only one in my like immediate family that was like the anime or like big video game fan. But looking at my family now, like a lot of my cousins that are younger than me, they are now into anime and video games. And so guess what? Whenever they talk about certain stuff, I'm able to jump into that conversation with them. And, you know, because I'm a little bit older, I can, you know, sprinkle a little wisdom on certain stuff. But yeah, it's just, yeah,
seasoning.
Yeah, sprinkle a little seasoning on them. But yeah, I agree with you. Ultimately, I agree with you. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
But yeah, that's my approach. Start with a conversation. There's always something you can relate to. Pretty much anybody, believe it or not, if you just find one thing, and that one thing can change everything about the relationship you have with that person, you know, at the job or friendship or whatever. And then you can open up the door for different things like anime and video games recommendations. Like I had a friend who didn't know what Bloodborne was. I explained to him, oh, this is how this game works. You know, it's more of a fantasy thing, hardcore. You might be into that. He's like, I'll try it out. I like hard games. You know, stuff like that.
Oh,
people are into different things.
You show Bloodborne to the wrong person, you finna be down a friend. Why'd you show me this shit? It's so fucking hard. I can't beat it. God damn it. You know, that type shit.
I just, you know what I say to him? I believe in you. Even if you don't believe in yourself.
I'm not gonna lie, I almost thought you were gonna say get good.
You know
Actually,
what?
We had that conversation before. I never was a good guy. I don't care about difficulty. We talk about difficulty in video games once on the podcast. And get good, it's another form of gatekeeping.
Yeah,
you know,
you're right.
You're right.
You're right.
Absolutely is.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my approach for it. Sage, you about to say something?
In fact, actually, in terms of gaming, not only is get good a form of gatekeeping, but this thing where you don't like people don't want difficulty sliders and shit like that, that's really just a form of gatekeeping. Like you trying to keep people out because you like, oh no, like if you're not willing to put up with the difficulty of this game, then you shouldn't be playing it. Like, I mean, how is that not gatekeeping? Like you basically trying to keep people from playing the shit. Like, oh, you can play something else, you just can't play this. Like, what?
Yeah, to me that's bitch made shit for real, man. If you don't like that, just sit the fuck down. Let them play the game at their own leisure.
I played a long game with those. I'm like, you right. I just nod my head. I'd be like, you right. And then like they should make it as hard as you wanted to make. And the long game of that is like eventually like that fandom will die out.
Yeah.
Like y'all not gonna always be however million strong necessary to because you unwelcoming to other people. Like you basically trying to shut people out of trying to shit. You don't want them to come play it on like an easier difficulty, even though it wouldn't affect you at all. Like you don't want none of that. So I'm like, all right, well, you can have it. I'm gonna give you everything you want until it don't work out. And then when it die out, I'm gonna be like, yep, that's what the fuck I thought. So like I played a long game on that one. You know, Rakeem brought up like
I think
you don't want to talk.
Rakeem had something he was going to say.
Rakeem had another statement.
Did you have your finger up? Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I my bad, bro.
It's okay. It's okay. I actually enjoying your conversation. I'm about to say for like you were talking about that. That's a great example. But also for gaming and anime and stuff like that. One thing that's been a great tool for communities and things like that has been like YouTube and videos and things like that. For people who kind of like, I know for me, sometimes when I get into different things, like Elden Ring was the first Souls game I really loved. So I had no idea how to approach this genre. So I like watched videos and it was like, there's a lot more welcoming people on the internet, on videos than we think. There are a lot of people who put guides, who put information out there, who make stuff make sense. And they kind of get lost sometimes when we get into the sea of negativity that can be the internet.
Yeah, I mean, the positivity can sometimes be hard to stand out. I agree.
Yeah. So sometimes there are people who are out there who do really try to push communities. Like I know for one thing, we could talk about this as a whole other topic, but like annoying fan bases sometimes are annoying because they want you to come into their fan base. Like One Piece will not stop shutting up about come watch One Piece. They're like the complete opposite of Gatekeepers. They got the doors wide open and they try to invite you every single day of the week.
Come to the church in One Piece.
One Piece is a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah. Come see.
Heard about the greatness of One Piece. Like, man, you get out. It's 7:00 in the morning. That's the perfect time to watch One Piece, my son. Like,
come see how Luffy turned into Gear 4. Hallelujah.
Well, oh my goodness. But yeah, that's another example. Like as far as like, the negativity and the gatekeeping, there are people out there who do open fan bases up and try to get people in. Gaming, Final Fantasy 14, that was the most active MMO fan base I've ever seen. That's why that game found its success, the community. Every time I was online, all those people talked about was come play Final Fantasy 14. Yes, sir.
Have you heard about the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy 14 that allows you to play up to level 60 with no playtime restrictions, and you also get to play the award-winning expansion Heavensward, and you also get to go into a Realm Reborn with no play limit.
You got it.
Come join us now for free.
Oh man, I'm gonna join right now.
Like when I tell you that worked, even I played Final Fantasy 14, and I'm not super into MMOs, but I'm like, it sounds pretty good to me. And I was even in them bugs. So there are people out there who do the positive and do the work and try to open communities up. I just get lost in the sea of negativity and gatekeeping sometimes. That's all I want to bring up.
No, that was a really good point. Like there are hella videos online. Like it's not everybody. Right? Like everybody's not trying to gatekeep. A lot of people are trying to be welcoming. A lot of people are trying to be like, hey man, if you want to get into it, I can help. Like a lot of people are like that. In fact, I would say more people than not are like that.
Yeah.
I would go so far as to say more people than not are trying to welcome you in and like grow the hobby because they know that the hobby is better with more people in it. It's just a few people that suck, and you just gotta call them out. You gotta be like, "Hey, man, this not it." Like, you gotta let them know, like, this not the path for you. You gotta go in a different direction. You gotta grow the fuck up.
It doesn't help that the negative stuff is always the stuff that goes viral too. So
Yep. They stink.
Yeah, you ain't never lied. Like all of like the videos Rakeem was talking about, where they, this is how you get into this. This is how you get, like, them videos not going viral. The videos going viral is the dude asking about your Funko Pop collection and shit. This is trash collection of action figures if I ever seen one. Like, they just sit there. They don't do nothing. They ain't got no posability.
Like Funko Pops. I don't collect them. They look cool to me.
Fucking hate them. I used to be an action figure guy. Like when I was a kid, I used to be a huge action figure guy. And like I always liked the ones that you could actually pose and they could do shit. And Funko Pops are like the opposite of that. I fucking despise them shit.
Just be sitting there.
What's the fuck? Yeah, they just sit there in a box. I'm like, man, this shit, the ultimate capitalist bullshit. You just buy it and it just sit there and do nothing. You just bought it because you bought it. Just throwing money away. As far as me being welcoming, like I try to be welcoming. Like one thing I'll say about myself is I'm always second guessing myself on just like how critical or how arrogant I am about certain shit. So like, I fail a lot. I mean, I know, I'm aware, but like I be trying. I really be like trying to think critically about like, okay, am I coming off like too much of an asshole? Am I coming off like too much of a know-it-all? Because what I don't want is for somebody to think that I'm just like so aloof to the point that I'm just like, oh, that dude, he just gonna yell at me for liking this and for liking that. And I'm like, nah, man, you like whatever you like. And then as far as like getting people into anime, I never really tried when I was really young because I never wanted to be that pest. Like they had them on, they had the pest on every fucking sitcom in the 90s and the early 2000s. Have you ever watched Star Wars? It's really good. Shut your bitch ass up. He always had some high-pitched ass voice, and have you ever checked this out, Star Trek, on this episode 65, snarfing out like, oh,
well, like, actually, if you watch this episode, then you might.
I never wanted to be that guy. Like, I'd see it, and I'm like, man, this fucking sucks. Like, I'm like, no wonder they shoved you in the lockers, which, like, you don't deserve it.
You don't deserve it.
You don't deserve that treatment for being annoying. But, like, I see how that happens. And I'm like, fuck, I don't want to be that guy. Not because I was afraid of being shoved in the lockers, because, I mean, bet. But, like, I just I just don't want to be, like, an annoyance to people. And so, like, when I was growing up, I was like, man, I mean, like, unless you bring it up, I'm not going to say anything. But that wasn't gatekeeping. That was just me trying not to like force somebody into the hobby. Like Keen, when he was talking about like One Piece fans, or like really a lot of fans that are like that, where they just like, oh, you got to get into this, you got to try this. I wasn't that type of dude. But if you brought it up, I mean, I'd be like, well, what do you like? What are you into? And if you ask for recommendations, I'll give them. But I mean, like I've also had that conversation where people are like, yeah, whenever I say I'm into anime, somebody dumps like 50 different shows on me, and I'm like, well, that's just homework. Like, even as an anime fan on my own, that shit can feel like homework. Like, I'd be sitting there looking at like a list of anime, like I'm behind on all the fall anime, summer. Yeah. I'm behind on all the summer anime, and I think
finna be behind on fall too.
definitely finna be behind on fall like a motherfucker. Terrence knows something about this. After a while, you get so far behind, the shit feel like homework. You're like, fuck, I gotta catch up with this and catch up. And eventually you just give up. You know, you watch like the 2 or 3 shows that you really loved, and then the rest of you just like, man, fuck that. I just can't keep up. I'm gonna wait for the fall season. The cycle start all over again. You know,
can't watch everything.
Actually, Rakeem said that one time. Forget what it was. It was like something like about something really important, some really important ass show. I don't think it was anime. I think it was like a movie or like a television show. And he's like, hey man, you can't watch everything. And I was like, and I sat there for a second. I'm like, wait a minute. No, you really can't watch everything. Like sometimes you just gonna have to miss some shit.
Yeah.
And
I've never seen Mad Men. I know that show's incredible. I think I'd like it, but I can't watch everything.
What show you say?
Mad Men.
Oh, Mad Men.
Really well done. I've always wanted to watch it, but man, it's so far back now. I don't think I'm gonna watch it anymore.
I have a never-ending list of anime that I'm like, I actually have on my anime list. That motherfucker long as a bitch. But it's just I always tell myself I'm gonna get around to these shows, and I like some of them I do get around to, some of them I don't. Periodically I go back, look at the plan to watch list to be like, man, this motherfucker long as shit. But I like it's so long that I'm like, yeah, like I'm not gonna sit here and dump 100 episodes, 100 shows on somebody. Like that's not welcoming at all. That's not welcoming either. Like that's off-putting. Like the idea that you have to watch 6 billion shows just to be an anime fan, like that's absurd. Now, having said all of that, I did have one last question. It was a little bit of a joke, really. Am I wrong for gatekeeping the gatekeepers? Because, like, I be looking at these gatekeepers, and these motherfuckers be fans of, like the same, like the kid from beginning, where the dude was like, oh, man, they went in the trenches like me watching Dragon Ball Z and Naruto. I'm like, yo, shut the fuck up watching this super popular ass shit that all the fucking jocks was watching. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's not, you haven't put in enough time and you don't watch enough obscure anime to be gatekeeping in the first place. Like, you watch the same shit that everybody else watching, and then you got the nerve to be like, how could you like this? You don't know nothing about Naruto. And I'm like, no, motherfucker, everybody know about Naruto. What do you mean?
He's in Fortnite now. Everybody knows about Naruto from Fortnite.
Yo, if you watching this and you want to piss off gatekeeping fans, just start calling every anime character that's in Fortnite's Naruto or Fortnite's Goku.
Oh yeah, that's Ryu from Fortnite. Yeah. Oh yeah, I think he's gonna be in Street Fighter 6. Like that's crazy. Like him making a guest appearance there is wild. I didn't think Capcom could pull it off.
Oh shit. just be blatantly wrong about it. But like I don't understand. Like I be sitting there looking at people and I'm like, y'all talk about the same 20 anime over and over again. And then you got the nerve to gatekeep somebody. And I'm like, with what grounds? Like, am I crazy? Like, what grounds do you have to gatekeep anybody? Like, you have the casual of casual taste. And, like, you should just enjoy what you watch. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I'm not telling you to go out and watch something obscure. You ain't got to do that to be an anime fan. What I am telling you is that you're not going to sit here and watch the same casual shit that everybody else watching. And then you like, well, actually, I think that you're not a real fan because you don't know what happened in episode 126. Shut up. What the fuck are you talking about? Everybody know what happened. Naruto fought Sasuke at the Valley of the End. Shut up.
Yep.
I don't think that's
it's crazy. I knew immediately what you were talking about. So you said 126. I'm like, you talking about Valley of the End.
I actually didn't know where I was going with that. I was just like talking.
Close enough. I was like 120. That's like Valley of the End. Naruto, yeah.
I was like, what is that in Naruto? And then I was like, that seemed like it's pop around the Valley of the End section. So I was like, yeah, fuck it. That one. So like, what are you talking about?
Probably not exactly right, but it's close. Yeah.
Like, have y'all seen this online? Am I tripping? Like, all jokes aside, am I tripping? Have y'all seen this shit online where somebody show like a really common ass clip of a common ass anime, like Goku fighting Frieza, and they be like, they don't know nothing about this. I'm like, what's up, Key?
Okay, so to respond to this, first off, we as anime fans know, especially as guys, shonen anime in America is overwhelmingly probably the most popular genre. For a lot of anime fans,
absolutely overwhelmingly the most popular genre.
So anime fans, a lot of them don't realize, bro, that's like a lot of other genres besides shonen anime that you could watch. So like to them, that's all anime is battle anime. Like that's it. And It's okay, Sage. Let me finish. Well, I know you about to go on. We had a conversation about that
but I'm
too.
just like, that's wild to say. Like,
But yeah, like to them, like shonen anime is anime. Like it's like they don't watch slice of life. To them, it's invisible. They don't have an idea about romance anime. They don't have a concept about like different themes outside of like the traditional battle animes. So like to them, that is what hardcore anime fans watch. It's like, this is the best. This is what everyone's talking about. They have no idea. There's like fan bases who don't give a dang about who's punching who in the face. They worry about some relationship stuff. They worry about some anime about somebody getting a job and like figuring things out. You know, that's what they're worried about. They might think they go to anime.
Me out, boy.
They go to the anime might be Golden Boy, you know, from back in the day or something like that.
Let's go.
Just go.
Hey, that's a goat anime. What you talking about?
Like, so
Golden Boy.
So from that perspective, a lot of it is like the most vocal people online these days are probably very young too, and you know, like I said, like their concepts of like what they think people who watch anime now, they don't realize that like back then we watched a lot of variety as well. So they're still kind of closed-minded in that regard too. Now, the thing I wanted to talk about that I've noticed online for me, as far as gatekeeping, I'm noticing like fan bases are starting to gatekeep other fan bases. Like they're like, if you like this fan base, like if you like this anime specifically, or you're into this protagonist, or you're into this anime, you're a bottom feeder, you're stupid. Like this is a very recurring thing I'm seeing now. It's like fan base versus fan base all the time. One Piece, My Hero, Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, and it was
a lot
just
of old
like
versus new.
Yeah, and a lot of people just, I mean, they will drag that anime down for the minutest of criticisms that are just blown out of proportion. And to me, that feels like dangerously close to gatekeeping because they hate that this anime is put on a pedestal, or they hate this anime is popular now, and so they want to destroy the credibility of it to prop anime they actually love up. That's kind of a form of gatekeeping too. Because now at this point, like, you're telling people like, you watching this is stupid. You should be watching this only. And if you watch this, you're an idiot. Like, that's the stuff that bothers me. Because I'm seeing that a lot.
That reminds me a lot of there was one post, I think it was like last year, where it was like, if Demon Slayer and Attack on Titan ain't in your top 10, then I don't know what you're doing. And it's like, you can't be making posts like that, man. You can't. You can't.
No.
Yeah. I had a flashback when you said that, like a
yeah, because I remember us talking about that in the Discord. Yeah,
I was so angry when I saw it, and like hearing you bring it up, I'm angry again. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like y'all didn't like again. Seen the same 25 anime, and you just decided you finna go out there and just run the crusade for Demon Slayer and Attack on Titan. I'm like, bro, like it's other shows out there. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. And like you mentioned this, Sage, it's crazy how hard you fight for the anime that everyone's already watching. Like, these animes are like really popular. Demon Slayer is a blockbuster anime now. Like, this huge. Attack on Titan is huge. People were talking about it like Game of Thrones on Sunday night.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same
Attack on Titan is pretty much the equivalent of anime Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
they trend on Sundays or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, that's a huge platform. That's the closed-mindedness. Like, we're not realizing, like, not getting it. Like, dude, everyone's watching this now. And so this fan base is humongous. Anime and gaming, as this is part of the podcast we talk about, both have grown exponentially since we were children. They have grown in credibility. They have grown financially. They've grown in complexity. They've grown in genre variance. And in some cases, a little static too, because once you get popular to a certain extent, you kind of stay on that tread of like the most popular track, like Isekai right now. That's a pet peeve of mine in anime. I'm getting tired of Isekai, but that's a whole nother conversation.
There we go.
but just get back to the point. I don't think you're crazy, Sage. I think you're just kind of sick of seeing the same conversations happen over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I just want people who are like out there, whether you agree or disagree with us at all, whatever. Just slow down for a second. Think about what you're doing when you gatekeep people. Think about who you're affecting. Think about like how you felt when people treated you like that. And like converse with yourself like, why would I treat people the same way as the people that treated me that way? I don't want to become what I hated. Get over yourself. Get out of your head and focus on being positive.
listen
Yes.
to this.
Man, I am glad Raheem is on this
That's what I
episode.
was
Like,
saying, bro.
my
Like,
man just
let
make
me-
creating highlight clip after highlight
Hell
clip. I'm gonna
yeah,
have
you
like
know what
4
I'm saying,
highlight
bro?
clips of you all over Twitter this week.
Yeah, this man
Oh.
just been going off, bro. Like, yeah. I
No,
fucks
you went
with
on.
it. No, I was just angry. I'm always angry. Shit, you was being
Yeah,
positive. You had like a lot of like
saying
really
shit.
well said points and shit like that. Like, fuck yeah. I didn't really want anybody to seriously answer that question. Rakeem did. But if anybody does have like a joke or something they wanted to say in response to the idea of me gatekeeping gatekeepers, but I just thought it was like a funny thing.
I mean, I'll just real quick say that I mean, I understand where you're coming from because I mean, yeah, like these same people who are watching like the same kind of shows and acting like oh, I know all about anime. That's my thing is that when you watch pretty much the same kind of genre and you've only watched like a few shows, it's like you're an anime fan. There's nothing wrong. You're still very much an anime fan. Don't get it twisted.
of
Like
course.
you are very much an anime fan, but don't act like you know everything about the medium just because you watched a little bit and you can that gives you a right to gatekeep other people. It's like, no, like anime is just like movies, just like TV, just like you have a plethora of genres for TV and film, you have a plethora of genres for anime. In fact, the same genres pretty much. Sci-fi exists in anime, slice of life, drama, romance, all that stuff exists in anime. And it's not just about battle shonen. It's not just about Naruto, not just about One Piece. Not everything is about the big three. So yeah, it's like watch what you want to watch. Like there's nothing wrong with that, but don't use that as a means of gatekeeping, I guess is ultimately what I'm trying to get at, is what we're trying to get at. It's like, don't act like you know everything about anime just because you've watched the big three and that gives you the right to say like, oh, all these other anime are trash. It's like the big three are clearly superior. It's like, nah, cut that out. Like, broaden your horizons, learn more. Sometimes you just need to sit back, listen, and go experience some new things. That's all you need to do, you know. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. It is what it is, you know. Not everything, something is not gonna be everyone's cup of tea, you know.
Exactly.
I absolutely like, and that's really what I'm getting at. Like, I don't care. You can watch only the big three, or you can watch only like Shonen Jump anime. Not even Shonen anime, just Shonen Jump. Like, I only watch shit that come from Weekly Shonen Jump. I don't care. You are welcome to do that. You are not no less of an anime fan. You still cool in my book. Just don't start telling everybody else that you know a lot about anime and like, oh, I've been watching anime forever. And so like the years in the game don't matter. The number of anime you've seen, it don't matter. Like, just stop it. Like, just relax. Relax and let people be who they want to be, just like we letting you be who you want to be.
Facts.
All right. I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode.
Most
If you enjoyed it, I need a few things from you. I need you to do us a favor, and I need you to hit that subscription button on YouTube. I need you to follow us on Twitter. I need you to follow us on TikTok. I need you to tell your friends about us, please. And I need you to do me a personal favor and have an excellent week. Peace.